The kitchen was a monument to good intentions gone stale. The gym. Oh, the gym. I had a shiny membership to a place that looked like a spaceship. All chrome and neon and television screaming at you. My body would scream NO in every cell. I started to notice the language everywhere. My social media was a relentless barrage. Let me tell you about Sarah. She's not a client or anything, just someone I heard about. a project lead from Denver. She's sharp, the kind of person who runs meetings that actually end on time. But in her kitchen drawer, next to the takeout menus, she had a secret graveyard. 8 different fitness and nutrition programs. All PDFs, all promising a total transformation in 6 weeks or less. One was called Shrugilla. I mean, come on. Sarah would find a program on a Sunday night, usually after a weekend, that felt soft. She'd read the whole thing, her heart beating with this beautiful, hopeful excitement. She'd buy the groceries, the kale, the chicken breast, the sweet potatoes that always sprouted weird eyes in her pantry. She'd lay out her cute workout clothes. Day 1 was glorious. She'd follow the meal plan to the gram. She'd do the workout, sweat beading on her forehead, feeling powerful. Day 2, still good, a little sore, but the good kind. By day 9, something always happened. Maybe work blew up, a 7 p.m. crisis call. She'd miss the workout. She'd order a burrito because she was starving and had no prepped food. And here's the critical moment. She'd look at the perfect calendar checkboxes on the program, see the one missed day, and a voice in her head would say, "You blew it." She'd close the PDF, shove it in the drawer with the others. The kale would wilt in the fridge, and she'd carry around this quiet, heavy belief. I am the kind of person who can't stick to anything. That was her villain. Not her body, not her schedule. That story, she told herself. I was right there with her. My version was the 6 a.m. gym class. The alarm was my villain origin story. Every time I hit snooze, I was writing another chapter in a book called Alex is Lazy. I was collecting evidence against myself. The unused membership card was Exhibit A. The tight dress pants were Exhibit B. It was a trial where I was the judge, jury, and defendant, and I always found myself guilty. I call this the consumer mindset. And it's a trap. Here's how it works. You see your body like a car that's making a weird noise. You don't know how to fix it yourself, so you take it to a mechanic, the gym, the influencer, the app. You buy the parts they sell you, the program, the supplements. You wait for them to hand you back the keys to a fixed, perfect vehicle. You're just waiting. You're a passive consumer of your own transformation. My entire life was a subscription service I hated but couldn't cancel. My motivation was a monthly fee that auto-drafted from my soul, and when I didn't get the results I was promised, I thought I needed to buy a better subscription, a more expensive one, a louder one. One night, after that cold coffee morning I told you about, I was just scrolling, deep in the weird part of YouTube. Past the polish to BNA aus with shock faces videos. I was in the digital back alleys, and I found it. A grainy, shaky, vertical video. It was uploaded by someone with a username like TrainerLee247. The title was just, Old School, Real Work. It was shot in what looked like a service alley behind a row of restaurants in Nashville. Brick walls, dumpsters, steam coming from a vent. There was a guy there, no fancy shoes, no branded tank top. Just a pair of worn-out shorts and a t-shirt. He wasn't huge, not in that shiny bodybuilder way. He was just dense, like a rope knotted over and over, and he was moving. He wasn't on a machine. He was using the alley itself. He'd jump up and grab the bottom of a heavy-looking metal fire escape, pulling his chest to it slowly, his back muscles spreading like wings. He'd put his hands on a low concrete step and do slow, controlled push-ups, his body in a perfect straight line. He'd squat down low, holding the position, his face calm. The only sounds were his steady breathing, the distant clang of a kitchen, and his feet scraping gently on the asphalt. It was the opposite of everything in my feed. It was quiet. It was simple. It looked hard, but not frantic. There was no destroy or annihilate in the description. It just was. He finished, wiped his face with his shirt, gave a small nod to the person filming, and walked out of the alley like he'd just taken out the trash. It was mundane. It was miraculous. I watched it 3 times, and something cracked open in my brain. A single clear question. What is he buying asterisk? What subscription does this alley require? What product is he consuming? The answer was nothing. He wasn't a consumer. He was a practitioner. He wasn't fixing a broken product. He was communicating with a capable partner, his own body. The alley was just the conversation room. I looked at my own spaces, my apartment with the sad resistance bands, the sidewalk outside, the little park with the bench 2 blocks down, the stairwell in my office building. They weren't lacking gym equipment, they were full of potential. I just didn't know the language. The trap I was in wasn't made of metal bars. It was made of mirrors and monthly fees in comparison. It was the belief that fitness was something that happened asterisk to asterisk you, in a special place after you paid. That to be worthy of a better body, you first had to prove you could suffer correctly in public. But what if the secret wasn't adding more to your life? More gear, more apps, more complicated routines? What if it was stripping everything away? What if, instead of trying to sculpt a statue, I just needed to learn how to move the clay? That grainy video was a glimpse through a keyhole. It was a man having a silent, powerful conversation with gravity, using the world as his tool. And for the first time, I wondered what that conversation would sound like if it was mine.
So I didn't go to the gym. I didn't buy new shoes. I didn't even watch another workout video. That Thursday, after another day of pixelated faces on Zoom and a lukewarm, sad desk salad, I got home and I just stopped. My apartment was quiet. The only light was the gray, late-afternoon Chicago light, seeping through the blinds, painting long stripes on the floor. I put my phone in the other room, not on silent, on do not disturb, face down on my bed, under a pillow. It felt like a radical act, like I was defusing a bomb. I walked back into my living room, to the space between my couch and the TV. I looked at the area rug. It's a blue IKEA rug, the one everyone has with little geometric shapes. I'd stared at it 1,000,000 times while watching Netflix, but I'd never really seen it. I sat down on it. Then slowly, I lay down on my back. The ceiling of my apartment is that kind of popcorn texture. It looks like stale cottage cheese. I let my arms fall out to my sides, palms up. My first thought was, this is stupid. My second thought was a frantic mental checklist of all the things I should be doing instead. That urgent, buzzing feeling. I could almost hear my phone vibrating through the wall, a phantom itch in my pocket. This was the assignment I gave myself. Not a workout, a body scan, 15 minutes, just me, the rug, and the cottage cheese ceiling. The goal wasn't to change anything. The goal was just to notice. I started at my feet. My toes were curled tight inside my socks. I consciously let them go. I felt the rough weave of the rug through the thin cotton. I moved my attention up to my ankles. Nothing special. My calves felt heavy, like they were filled with wet sand. My knees. Okay. My thighs were tense, as if they were still braced for a sprint I hadn't run. Then I got to my hips, and I stopped. There was a sensation there I hadn't ever paid attention to. A deep, dull ache. Not a sharp pain, but a constant low-grade hum of tightness, like a guitar string tuned just a little too tight. It was the seat of all my sitting, all my hunching, all my strategic standing. I just breathed and let my awareness rest there, on that knot of held tension. I didn't try to fix it. I just acknowledged it. Oh, there you are. My stomach was soft. I let it be soft. For years, I'd been holding it in, subtly, constantly, in every room, in every photo. Letting it relax felt vulnerable and strange, like I was admitting a secret. My chest felt tight. My shoulders were practically hugging my ears. I took a deeper breath than I had all day. I heard a little click in my sternum. My jaw was clenched. My teeth were not touching, but my jaw muscles were locked, a vice grip of stress. I let my mouth fall open a little. My tongue relaxed. My eyes were dry from screen time. I blinked slowly, looking at a water stain on the ceiling tile in the far corner that vaguely looked like Florida. The internal battle was ridiculous. Part of my brain was screaming that this was a waste of time. You could be doing push-ups. You could be meal prepping. You're just lying there. That was the old voice, the consumer voice, demanding a product, a result, a receipt for my effort. I had to gently tell it, not today. It was hard. It was maybe the hardest part. Outside, I heard the city. The 6:15 p.m. bus hissing to a stop. A siren fading in the distance. Someone laughing on the sidewalk below. These sounds usually felt like intrusions. But lying there, they just became part of the tapestry. They were the sound of life happening, and I was a part of it, not separate from it, rushing through it. Then, around minute 12, something shifted. I took another breath, and as I exhaled, I imagined sending that breath down, like a warm wave, right to that tight spot in my lower back and hips. I didn't force it. I just suggested it. And on that exhale, something released. It wasn't a dramatic pop. It was a subtle, melting sensation. The clenched fist feeling between my shoulder blades loosened its grip just by one finger. The tension in my jaw softened another degree. A wave of calm washed over me, so foreign it was almost alarming. It wasn't excitement. It wasn't motivation. It was quiet. It was the feeling of coming home to a house where you've turned off all the buzzing appliances. The silence was spacious, not empty. When I finally sat up, the room looked different. The light was warmer, golden. My body felt taller, lighter. Not physically different, but more integrated. Like for 15 minutes I had stopped being a boss managing a problematic employee, my body, and had just visited, had a cup of tea with it, asked how it was doing. That was the win. Not a lighter scale, not a bigger muscle. It was a reconnection. A microscopic restoration of trust. I had asked my body to just be, and it had shown me where it hurt. And I had listened. That was the agreement I'd been missing for a decade. I stood up slowly. My knees didn't crack. I walked to the window and looked out at the city, now lighting up for the evening. I felt a smile on my face, a real one, not for a camera, for me. This is where 95% of people quit. Right here. Because it doesn't feel like work. There's no burn, no sweat, no catchy playlist. You can't post a photo of yourself lying on a rug. The before and after is invisible. It happens in the dark, quiet theater of your own nervous system. So they get up, think, that was nice, and go back to searching for the magic bullet, the punishing routine that will finally crack the code. The war is daily. It's fought in the boring moments, waiting for the microwave, sitting on the toilet, lying in bed for the first minute after the alarm goes off. You win it with specific, tiny actions. The 8-minute weekly cure it. The 37-second deposit of fixing or creating something real. The green dot on the calendar, the anchor text to a friend. The noise of the world doesn't go away. The July 4th headlines are still brewing, but something is changing inside the quiet space you're building. You are no longer just a passive receiver of the world's chaos. You are becoming a creator of your own small, real world. And that leads to the final beautiful question. What becomes possible, not just for your mood, but for your actual life, when your brain is no longer a trauma dump for the algorithm, when you reclaim those 37-minute blocks, not just to avoid anxiety, but to build something you actually care about? The answer is waiting for you on the other side of the holiday. In the new normal you're building brick by brick, breath by breath. It's Friday, July 4th, 2025. The sun is a hot, golden coin in a deep blue sky over Brooklyn. The air smells like charcoal, sunscreen, and the sweet earthy scent of cut grass from McCarran Park. You can hear the rhythmic thump of a basketball on pavement, the shrieks of kids running through an open fire hydrant, and the distant, tinny sound of a portable speaker playing an old pop song. Sarah is on a rooftop, not a fancy one, just the shared roof of her apartment building. A few neighbors have dragged up folding chairs and a small cooler. Someone has a small, legal grill, and the smell of cooking burgers fills the air with a simple, greasy goodness. Sarah is sitting in a webbed lawn chair, the plastic stripes leaving a gentle imprint on the back of her legs. She's wearing sunglasses, and a slight breeze plays with the loose strands of her hair. Her phone is in her tote bag, tucked under her chair. It is not on silent. She is not trying to disappear from the world, but it is out of sight. For the last 2 weeks, she has practiced. The sensory anchor reset when the urge hit. The 8-minute Sunday curate to tilt her feed. The 37-minute resilience deposits. She fixed the drawer, learned to make a decent omelet, and started reading a novel she'd owned for 3 years. The result isn't that the world has magically become a perfect place. The news cycle is predictably full of July 4th chaos, travel nightmares, political hot takes, the usual noise. The tangible benefit for Sarah is this. That noise now feels like weather. It's a thunderstorm on the horizon. She notes it. She might even prepare for it, checking her transit app before she goes out, having a real conversation with someone who disagrees with her. But she doesn't live inside the storm. She doesn't let it drown out the taste of the burger, the warmth of the sun on her skin, the sound of her neighbor's laugh. A friend, Leo, from down the hall, plops into the chair next to her. He's scrolling, his face tight. "Can you believe this?" he says, turning his phone to her. It's a headline about a protest that turned chaotic somewhere else in the country. The screen is a little rectangle of anger. Sarah feels the old pull. The stone tries to form in her chest. The web gives a faint, familiar twang. She looks at the screen, then up at Leo's face. She takes a breath. Not the full 11 seconds, just a quick, conscious one. She orients her focus to his worried eyes. "Yeah, I saw that earlier," she says, her voice calm. It's a lot. She doesn't dive into the details with him. She doesn't lecture him about doom scrolling. She simply acknowledges his feeling, and then she gently redirects the anchor to the here and now. "The burgers are almost ready, and I think Jenny brought that potato salad you like." She passes the phone back to him. He looks at it for a second, then at the grill, then at the people laughing. He gives a small, almost surprised smile. "Yeah, okay," he says, and slips the phone into his pocket. He doesn't take it out again for an hour. That's the ripple effect. Your peace isn't selfish. It's contagious. It creates a tiny zone of calm that others can step into. This new normal has other tangible benefits. Her sleep score on her tracker has increased by an average of 22 minutes of deep sleep per night. She finished that novel, and that creative solution she proposed at work, the one that impressed her boss. It came to her during a 37-minute deposit, where she was sketching mindlessly on a notepad, her brain finally free to connect dots that the constant scroll noise had kept separate. But there are new challenges at this level. Some people will call you privileged for disconnecting. You'll feel moments of FOMO, not for parties, but for information, a weird fear that you're missing the crucial thing everyone is talking about. The biggest warning is this. You might start to feel a little self-righteous. You might look at people hunched over their phones and think, "I'm better than that now." That's just another trap, a more subtle web. The protocol isn't a moral high ground. It's a tool for survival and sanity. Compassion for yourself and others is the final, non-negotiable piece. As the sky deepens to a velvet blue, the first real fireworks start. Not on a screen, but over the East River. Distant, colorful blooms of light, pops of red, starbursts of silver, drifting green sparks. The crackle boom sound arrives a heartbeat later, a satisfying physical vibration in the air. Sarah leans back in her chair. She doesn't reach for her phone to film it. She just watches, her face tipped up, the colored lights reflecting in her sunglasses. April 25th. Wore the tight shirt. Forgot it was tight by 11 a.m. The visual transformation wasn't in the mirror first. It was in the world. I started seeing bars everywhere. Stairwells became cardio machines. A low wall became a bench for step-ups. The city wasn't just a place I lived. It was my playground, my gym, my jungle gym. I felt a playful, secret knowledge. I was in on a joke no one else could see. I texted my friend Mark, the one who's always trying new spin classes. I sent him the video of the commuter's pull. Dude, try this weird thing. Takes 10 seconds. Tell me how your back feels. He texted back an hour later. Okay, that was oddly amazing. What else you got? That was community. Not sharing sweaty selfies for validation, but sharing a tiny, useful key. Accountability through curiosity, not shame. The changes started to compound. Because I was hanging from bars, my grip got stronger. Carrying heavy groceries felt easier. Because I was squatting daily, getting up from my couch or my office chair became a fluid, powerful motion, not a grunting ordeal. The breathing resets lowered my resting heart rate. I could feel it when I lay in bed at night. My pulse a soft, slow drum in the quiet dark. One morning in May, I was doing my kitchen sink squat. The sun was just coming up, casting a long, sharp beam of light through my window. As I stood up from the squat, I saw my shadow on the opposite wall. I froze. The silhouette of my shoulder, the line of my back. It looked different, defined. Not bulky, but capable. I'd been so focused on feeling that I hadn't been looking. And there it was, proof not from a scale, but from the ancient, honest technology of light and shadow. The data makes sense now. I read that in 2025, activities tagged as no urban training or your street workout had the highest adherence rates. It's not a fad. It's because when the workout is just a part of your life, like brushing your teeth, you don't need adherence. You just live it. You're not going to work out. You are working out by living in deliberate relationship with your environment. The body you want isn't built in dramatic, monthly photo shoots. It's built in the 10-second moments everyone else ignores. While you're waiting for the microwave, on your walk to the subway, in the 2 minutes between Zoom calls, that's where the war is won. Not with one big battle, but with 100 tiny, gentle, consistent acts of friendship with yourself. And when you start to win that war, people notice a light in you, a steadiness, long before they notice a change in your shape. It was the first truly warm weekend in June, and Chicago was breathing a sigh of relief. I was walking through the Lincoln Park Farmers Market, holding a bag of fresh apples in one hand. My other hand was free, swinging easily at my side. I wasn't sucking in my stomach. I wasn't thinking about my posture. I was just walking. And I caught my reflection in the window of a coffee truck. I didn't flinch. I didn't turn away. I just noticed. The person looked strong, at ease, like they belonged right there, in their own skin, on that sunny sidewalk. That was the moment I knew the change was real. It wasn't about the reflection, though. It was about the forgetting. I had forgotten to be self-conscious. The tangible benefits stacked up like quiet gifts. I slept through the night. A deep, dreamless sleep I hadn't known since college. The 3 p.m. crash was a relic of a past life. My back didn't ache, but the biggest change wasn't in my body. It was in my mind. The mental energy I used to spend on that exhausting internal dialogue. What should I eat? Did I work out enough? Do I look okay? was suddenly freed up. It was like uninstalling a bloated, glitchy app that had been running in the background for a decade. My phone battery didn't last longer, but my brain's battery did. That freed-up energy had to go somewhere. It went into my work. In a quarterly review, I presented a new campaign idea I'd been too timid to suggest before. It was bold. My voice was calm. I wasn't worried about how I looked standing at the front of the room. I was just passionate about the idea. My boss said, "You seem different, more grounded." I got the green light and a bigger budget to run it. It went into my social life. When my friends from college planned a weekend hiking trip in Starved Rock State Park, I didn't panic about being the slow one. I just said, yes. And on the trail, with the smell of damp earth and the sound of a river below, I wasn't the fastest, but I was steady. I carried the extra water. I felt useful. At the top of the bluff, looking out over the Illinois River, wind cooling the sweat on my skin, I felt a surge of pure, simple joy. It came from my legs, my lungs, my own effort. It wasn't filtered through a screen. Even dating changed. I'd matched with a woman named Chloe, a graphic designer who liked old bookstores. Our first date was at a used bookshop in Wicker Park, then a walk to get pizza. The old me would have been a nervous mess, worrying about what to order, how to sit, if my shirt was fitting right. The new me was just present. We talked for 3 hours. I laughed easily. I didn't strategize my bites of pizza. I just enjoyed it. At the end of the night, she said, "You're really easy to talk to." I realized it was because I was finally there, in the conversation, not stuck in a commentary track inside my own head.
This is the ripple effect. You don't just get a Nashville body. You show up differently at your job, in your relationships, for your dreams, because you've proven to yourself in the most concrete way possible that you can keep a promise to yourself. That trust is everything. But here's the warning, the new challenge at this level. Boredom, mastery is quiet. The kitchen sink squat, the commuter's pull, the breathing reset, they're automatic now. And the human mind loves drama. It can start to whisper, "Is this it? Shouldn't there be more?" The next level isn't more volume. It's not doing 100 squats instead of 5. That's just going backward into obsession. The next level is play, it's curiosity. It's asking your body, what fun thing can we learn? For me, it was a handstand. Not to be impressive, but because it looked like play. It was the opposite of practical. I started in my living room, putting my hands on the floor and kicking my feet up against the wall. It's for today, right after you finish listening to this. Walk up to it, touch it. Feel its texture. Is it cold metal, warm wood, chipped paint? Reach up and hang from it. Let your feet leave the ground for just 5 seconds. Feel the stretch in your shoulders. Listen to your breath, then let go. That is your first band rep. That is you starting a new conversation with the world you already live in. No membership required, no special shoes. Just you and a bar that has been waiting for you to see it not as street furniture, but as a tool for your freedom. If you do it, I want to know. Send me a message. Just say, Nashville Secret. I'll send you a short private video I made. It's just me showing the 5 foundational movements that all started with that first hang. No yelling, no sales pitch, just the simple practice. The gyms ban these workouts because they can't sell you a machine for it. They can't put a monthly fee on a city park or your own kitchen floor. The multi-billion-dollar fitness industry needs you to believe you're broken so they can sell you the fix. But you were never broken, you were just disconnected. The cage wasn't your body. Your body is not the enemy, it's your oldest, most loyal partner.